What's up guys, welcome back to another Marketing Monday. So today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I've done screen shares of how to build ads, but what I haven't done is actually show, kind of my process and where my head is at as we strategically build out our ads. One thing we're doing very heavily right now is we're pushing our luxury auction division. And these are all homes that, for the most part are $1 million and up, right? So my objective is typically on an auction setting, we will spend between $2,000 to $5,000, right? Now, I know most of you watching are gonna immediately want to say, well, I don't have that kind of budget. I get it. This can be done at any budget. It's more about the strategy that goes into it and how it all works. We're driving, between 30 and 50 to 60 leads, buyers that are willing to buy a $1 million up property. Imagine the buyer pool that we could drive for someone that's willing to spend 200 or 250 or whatever price point you're trying to work in. My point being, if I can use this strategy to go out and get $1 million up buyers, you certainly can use this strategy to drive your business at lower price points. First thing you need to do is if you are running multiple ads, especially ads that could be running to a similar area, you've got to exclude those out and you have to pay attention to those. We have 2 auctions right now that are within a few miles of each other. So it is very important that I do 2 things. One, I make sure that I'm not competing with myself as I turn these ads on, which means that I need to be very conscious of who am I targeting and where am I targeting them. If I run a 2-mile radius, a 10-mile radius, and a 25-mile radius, which we do, and I'm going to explain why, then I need to make sure that I'm excluding the 2 when I run the 10 and the 2 and the 10 when I run the 25. And that way I'm not competing and targeting the same people. I'm segmenting them out, which is where a lot of you get caught. I'll look at some of these ads and you're basically running multiple ads to the same people and you end up competing with yourself. The other thing is understanding who is the true buyer, right? So one of these homes is on the water. One of them is not. Both are in the same school district, so education-wise is exactly the same. But is my buyer different if they want to live on the water with a boat than my buyer who wants to live inland in a fully remodeled house? Yes. So I need to understand those differences. But I also can't get caught by those differences. And so what we do is we start, and where my head goes is I want to start very, very broad. So I view all of this as an upside down triangle. The top part of my triangle is going to be us essentially feeling the market out, right? So what I'll do in the first time, so we're actually gonna turn on one for St. Pete. I'll come in and you have all of your objectives, right? You've got your brand awareness, reach, traffic, engagement, and these can get very confusing. For me, the very first thing I wanna do is actually create a video view or an engagement, depending on what I'm gonna do. In this case, since we're going to do engagement, I'll click engagement and I'll name it. What I want here, I wanna feel out who is going to be interested in this house in general, okay? And what I am planning on doing, this is a strategy, right? So top of my box, I've got very high level. I want to either run video views is a good way to do it. Who's going to actually watch the video? Then my second tier down in that upside down triangle is going to be retargeting those people that are now showing engagement in that house, right? So now I know, okay, I've got people in that area who are interested in potentially buying the house. Then I retarget those folks with a slightly different ad that says, hey, are you ready to RSVP for the auction, with a lead form that's going to actually have them come. Then the next tier down is everyone who's engaged with that. I now can hit with an event ad to actually get them to truly RSVP, which then Facebook's going to do all the heavy lifting for me, because now when they actually answer to that event, now they're gonna get notifications that as that event approaches, right? So Facebook then handles all the reminders and everything that I want for me, because again, running it for an auction, my job is to get as many eyeballs on this property as possible, as many qualified eyeballs on this property as possible, and then get them to show up so that they actually bid. And in the last few auctions we've done, the fewest amount of bidders we've had there is 25, right? So this strategy really, really works. So what we do is, again, from a geo perspective, we run an ad at 2 miles around our target audience, 10 miles around our target audience, 25 miles around our target audience, and then the entire DMA. So again, starting very, very niche. Now, here's the key when I build this out. And again, going back to strategy, I know that my 2 mile around that address, so all I do to do that is I'm going to come in here, and where it says everyone in this location, I'm gonna change this to people who live in this location. I'm gonna take out the United States, and I'm gonna type in the property address. And so you're gonna see that Facebook will default you to 10 miles. No problem. I come in here, I click 2 miles, and I hit enter. Now, and here's why I run engagement or video views to 2 miles. In this area, this is a very, very high-end area that this home sits in, very historic. I know strategically, if I put myself in the position of this seller, that anyone who lives in a 2 mile radius of this house is very likely not going to move to be in this house. However, if they already live in the area, they're probably not my buyer. They could be renting a luxury condo that's in the area. It's possible, but that's not my main objective, because I know that primarily the people who live in this 2 mile circle are already happy where they live, but they have friends and family that they would love to live near them, that have probably come over for a dinner party and have talked about living over here. And now is the chance for these guys to pick their neighbor. So what I do is I run an engagement ad, because all I want them to do is comment and share. That's my main objective. So I want them to take this ad and literally tag a friend or family member that they want to live in the area. And you will be blown away at how effective this is. But again, you need to commit to it. And this is where I see people go wrong. But I want buyers. No, you do want buyers, but you need to create the gateway to the buyer. A lot of times that is someone they already know and trust who lives in the area. When I'm 2 miles out, this is what I do. We're gonna run this ad. We're gonna run it 2 mile around our house address, and we are gonna run this to neighbors. And in the copy of my ad, so I'm gonna make a couple small changes here. I'm gonna change the age. I'm gonna go 35 and up, right? Again, your market and your segment may be different, so all of this is gonna be different for every ad that you do. Then I'm gonna go into the next stage of this, and in the copy of the ad, I'm literally not gonna talk about selling this house to them. Instead, I'm gonna say, have you ever wanted to pick your neighbor? And here's another key point. The more contextual you are to your audience, the greater your odds are of being successful with your ad. So here's literally going to be my copy of the ad is going to be, Dear Northeast St. Pete, have you ever wanted to pick your neighbor? Now's your chance. On this date, we're gonna auction this property. If you have a friend or family member that you've ever wanted to live near you, now's their chance. List some details, put the video of the house in here, and done, right? But now, imagine that ad shows up in your newsfeed and you live in Northeast St. Pete, and it says, Dear Northeast St. Pete. Instantly, I've captured your attention. You're gonna wanna check out that video, and then if it hits home with you and you've had a friend or family member that you wanted to live there, you're gonna tag them, right? And the way the optimization works on Facebook on the back end of things, because I've chosen the engagement, Facebook knows people within this area And within the age demographics that I've picked and selected, it is looking for people that it knows behaviorally are likely to tag, share, and comment. So it's self-selecting them. It's doing all the heavy lifting. That's why Facebook ads work so well, because Facebook algorithm is unbelievably smart, and it is going to do all the heavy lifting. The only reason the ads don't work is because you screw them up. You try and get too cute. You try and narrow down the targeting too much. You don't layer your targeting. You do all of these things because you paid for a $79 e-course. The only difference is you're trying to sell a house and they're selling, something off Alibaba, and that is the difference. I own an e-commerce brand too. I would never run this style ad in that environment. So it doesn't always translate. Facebook ads are not created equal. There's difference and there's strategy behind every single thing that you do. And these things take a little bit of time. So if you're gonna run Facebook ads, don't sit there and try and build it all out and limit yourself to 2 minutes to do it, right? Unless you have an automated tool, it's not gonna work. So you actually need to take time to say, all right, let's literally drill down. Who's my audience? Where do they live? What do they like to do? Where, how old are they? What is that environment? And not what you want it to be, what it actually is. So that way you're building a true contextual ad, and then speak to them, guys. When you're writing that copy, it is so important that the video and the copy of your ad are contextual to the audience that you're targeting. We're not spending enough time actually creating content and writing copy that is contextual to our audience. Please take that away and really, 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 really focus on creating that contextual content for your audience. That's it. That is literally the name of the game, and it's how we do it. But that changes when I'm doing a 2-mile ad versus a 10-mile ad, because now I'm getting broader. Now I am getting into buyers. So I want to run lead gen to them, because now I actually have the opportunity for someone who lives in that area, right? Who's in the same school district, who knows that area pretty well, and now has the opportunity to move up or move around in that neighborhood. Same thing at 25 miles, now I'm really spanning. And when I get to the entire DMA, it changes again, because now I'm anywhere in Tampa, but now I can, through interest, really start to narrow down someone who might live in Wesley Chapel, but wants to live in Northeast St. Pete. Context, context, context. So that's the name of the game, guys. I hope this helps. And this is literally the process that we go through on every single ad that we build. So it's not just sit down, push a few buttons. It really is a lot of strategy and really putting ourselves into that position so that we can create a lot of connection and context with our audience, and that's what's gonna drive your results. Give this a shot. If you have questions, need any help, please reach out, message us, DM us on Instagram, whatever way you wanna communicate, please do. We're here for you. See you guys next week.